Hello, friends, and welcome to the third episode of the MovieBabble podcast. We're back once again. We told you it'd be a little less of a break between episodes this time, but yeah, Comic-Con was last week, and a bunch of different things debuted. There was apparently a trailer for Titans, a TV show, where Robin said "fuck Batman." So, well, that sounds pretty terrible. But we didn't talk about that. Me and Steven and I, Grammar, talked about just kind of the main trailers that came out this past weekend, just Aquaman, Godzilla, Shazam, Crimes of Grindelwald, and Glass, and I think that's it. But we had a lot of fun talking about this, so I hope you enjoy that. And before we get started here, there's a couple great articles on the site this week. My review of Mission Impossible Fallout should be out very shortly after this podcast airs. A wonderful movie. Love that so much. I have a bunch of different reviews up myself, as well as everyone else. A lot of good content coming out recently. Feels good to be at MovieBabble right now. But anyway, here's Steven and I hope you enjoy. And welcome back, everyone. The third episode of the MovieBabble podcast, coming very shortly after the second one. Steven, I think we're getting the hang of this thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the third one now, so we're beginning to lose count.
Yeah, I think...
I'm almost getting sick of them at this stage.
I think...
I'm only joking.
Maybe some people are getting sick of us already. Who knows? But... So we wanted to get this episode out very quickly to you guys because we think it's really fun and pertinent to the conversation right now in all things film. But Comic-Con just ended in San Diego, and there wasn't any Marvel there this year, but I think there was still a ton to talk about, especially from Warner Brothers and DC. I think they actually really stepped their game this year, which I'm kind of excited about. I don't know how you feel about it, but... Yeah,
I'm probably... This is I like all the trailers that we're going to talk about. I actually feel very excited for all of them, in terms of big scale movies, and especially when it comes to the likes of DC and Warner Brothers. I think they're starting to surprisingly beginning to step into a stage now where they're making sort of the right moves. I don't know how you think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think let's just get right into it. I gotta say, my favorite trailer. I agree with you. I liked all of them as well to varying degrees. There wasn't one that I looked at and said, "Ooh, I don't know about that one." But I think my favorite trailer had to be Shazam.
Yeah, I agree.
That made me so happy. I was absolutely sold on this movie as soon as I saw Zachary Levi start to floss and then punch through a cinder wall. It's like, I'm sold on this movie. I don't care whatever comes. I didn't know I needed a superhero flossing in my life. So,
which is a good kind of pull from Fortnite, which brings in a lot of other kids to watch this movie as well.
Yeah, it seems
I think
this is David F. Sandberg directed this movie, right? He did Animal Creation, which is kind of an interesting step for him, but I think I'm right. I hope I'm right. Anyway.
No, you're right. He directed Lights Out as well.
Yeah.
He's a kind of indie filmmaker.
It's kind of funny to see him make the jump from just like a very classic horror movie where it's just basically a scare fest to what is essentially the superhero version of Big, and just incredibly lighthearted. And it's just really kind of just sweet and really, really fun. It's kind of interesting. It's interesting to see Warner Brothers kind of give this guy that movie, but I don't know. It looks so delightful, I think is the word. It just looks really so much fun, and I think Zachary Levi it's just a trailer, but he just looks like he's having a blast as Shazam. But
he's perfect casting as well. Like, if you showed this movie if you showed this movie trailer to someone who's not even a casual fan or cinephile, they would almost just look at this and think, oh, this is another Marvel movie. Because it is that, like you said, delightful. And it looks like they're actually having fun with it. And this is a much more kind of kid-friendly movie than the likes of Suicide Squad or Batman vs Superman, which is the right step, I think, it's making. So
yeah, I think so too. It's one of those things where it feels like with Suicide Squad, it was like, oh, we have to make this movie fun. We have to make it Guardians of the Galaxy because we have this weird group of people. But it's for Shazam, it just feels like they chose the tone that goes perfectly with the situation. Like, how depressing would it be if we took the tone from BVS and where everything is brooding and everything is just such a bummer, and we put it into a little kid who becomes a superhero for the first time? Like, it just kind of works, and I think that's kind of what I needed from DC at this point. Just like we understand what we're going for, and we're gonna let the story tell itself and not try to go too hands-on with it. And I think they're starting to figure that out, which gets me really, really excited. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like the thing about it is, like, I remember when I first saw the trailer and the costume was revealed, I was like, oh my god, this is probably the goofiest costume in the DCU by far. And it kind of reminded me of Henry Cavill's outfit, but almost as if it was like completely just ripped out of the comics, or just really kind of gone full on with this whole kind of goofiness to it. And I think that's what they need. I know they have the Flash as the kind of comic relief in the Justice League, and sort of Aquaman as well, but yeah. I feel as if Shazam is the bona fide comic relief. He's almost going to be like a kind of mixture between the Flash and almost like, not to say that it would be kind of Deadpool the way it would be grotesque humor or anything like that, because it is you're literally following a kid character.
Yeah.
But it would be that kind of that zone of, oh, we're just having fun with this, and people are all people will want to do is go to see a movie that they're going to have fun with, and this is finally what the DC seems to be getting right, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just goofy. That's what I love about it. You have this absurd lightning. I like that the lightning bolt in the middle of his chest is just really bright, and it looks really silly, and he has a white cape. It feels like something out of like the 60s or something like that, which is really, really fun. And yeah, I just can't wait to just see a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it seems to have has a lot of heart. And I think this one is really becoming one of my most anticipated movies next year, because it just looks. I've rewatched the second half of that trailer when we finally get to see Shazam. I've probably rewatched it tens of times at this point, because it just makes me smile. It's just so funny to watch this kid try to figure out what he can do, and then it ends in that perfect button at the end where they find out he's bulletproof. Then he looks to the robbers and he's like, "Oh, you're dead." I think that's so funny. And then he's just running outside with his snacks, and it just looks like there's like the childlike wonder and fun, which I just can't wait for. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I mean, in the DCU, I know there's a lot of comparisons to the movie Big, the Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah. Which
is obviously fucking great, but when you look at this movie, it does seem original in the lore, in the mythology, because there's no other character out there that is actually a kid, but in a way is just posing as an adult superhero. And that's the fun side about it, and that's where the kid-friendly aspect is. And another thing about this is that, the Justice League was the lowest box office. It had the lowest box office numbers. It had I think only billed over 600 million.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a hit for Warner Brothers.
I mean, we spoke about that kind of lightly in the last podcast as well, I remember. But again, it's like it takes this. There are a lot of Easter eggs in this trailer. Mm-hmm. If you've already noticed them as well, like in in the kids' room, you know, you have like this kind of newspaper on the wall where it says, you know, Superman returns. So this is pretty. I think it's pretty safe to say that this is taking place after the Justice League. Yeah. But I've heard rumors that it's going to be taking place in the 80s as well. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I don't really care. You know, it looks like it just kind of looks like a fun story, and I'm kind of hoping at this point that's all you can hope for, and then you can worry about the connective tissue later with DC. But yeah, it's just really goofy. I think that's the word I'm going to keep thinking about it. It's just really goofy and silly, and that's kind of what I want out of this kind of story. So I think switching to still DC but a different movie, the Aquaman trailer. I know James Wan has been kind of just like keeping this trailer to himself for the longest time because he wanted to make sure that all the effects were at least decent, and this definitely looks like it's going to be an incredibly CGI heavy movie. It's just an underwater and all that things, but I'm going to say this movie, it looks like it's a lot of fun. It's going to be its own version of goofy. It'll definitely, like Shazam, it'll take itself definitely more seriously, but then there's just like these schlocky crocodile shark monsters that they're riding on in the water, which just looks insane and just super, super fun, you know? And then it looks like, I don't know, this is another one where, like we mentioned in the last podcast, where James Wan just kind of filmed this really far away from Warner Brothers, so he just kind of got to do whatever he wanted with it. So, I don't know how you think, but I like this one a lot. It looks like it's really fun.
No, I think you're on the money, because I think as much as I love the look of Shazam, it did kind of steal. It stole a lot of Aquaman's thunder, I think, in this Comic-Con. But I still look at Aquaman in a kind of positive light, because, well, obviously I'm a pretty big James Wan fan anyway. But
yeah, me too.
This movie does look like they're gonna. I feel good for Jason Momoa, because I think in Justice League he wasn't really given a lot. Like, he was just sort of this, you know, ridiculous bro character.
Yeah.
He just kind of had a few one-liners that kind of missed and didn't really go well in comparison with the Flash, because he kind of stole his thunder in a way, and now Shazam was kind of stealing his thunder at Comic-Con. But now he has a full movie, and I have a lot of faith in James Wan and making a good movie. You know, it's hard to believe that he came along. You know, he came along, and just like the way David F. Sandberg did with horror movies. Jason Wan, obviously, he made Saw, Insidious,
right,
Conjuring, which should kind of open up that horror universe as well. But I think this is actually a good move for James Wan, and you know, the visuals. I don't know what type of challenges he has in directing this type of movie, but the visuals and the whole kind of water dragging, I can't even picture how they're going to make some of these action scenes underwater, because there must be a lot of CGI involved.
Yeah,
and it must be so overwhelming for a director and the whole crew to deal with a movie like this.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this. I can imagine this budget is probably insane, just with all the effects that they have to do for it. And so I'm really hoping that they really push it in marketing and it makes its money, because it would just be a bummer to see, because this movie, it looks like it knows what it is, and it's going to have a lot of fun doing that. And I just really hope that this movie just kind of, it really just captures something. I mean, it's coming out right around Christmas, and Christmas is going to be really packed this year with, there's just movies of all kinds. There's even that Spider-Verse movie from Sony, the animated one's coming out right around the same time, and there's Mortal Engines from Peter Jackson, and there's Mary Poppins, which I'm sure is going to kill, and and then obviously there's a couple Oscar movies that are kind of hoping for awards. So I really hope this movie does well, because it looks really, really fun, and it just kind of it's its own brand of weird. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about it?
No, I mean, like, I think the whole environment of the movie as well is going to be kind of original. I know it looks like, I heard a lot of comparisons saying that it just looks like a kind of spin-off version of Pandora from Avatar. which you can kind of see some of the similarities there. Like, it's cool the way, you know, a lot of the jellyfish seem to be the lighting around the whole environment.
Yeah.
Even in that kind of gladiator type pit that they have this kind of fight, you have a lot of different animals there. It's going to look really kind of cool, and again, like, the visuals are going to be crazy. And again, like I was saying about Jason Momoa, I think this time, like, when you look at his in comparison to Shazam, even something as simple as the costume is completely kind of more subdued. It's definitely more lending towards the kind of Zack Snyder early DC movies.
Yeah.
But again, they're going to try and push this kind of fun side to the character as well. They're going to show I heard it's not really an origin story per se, but they're going to show how he kind of became the king. And I kind of like that, because how many origin stories are we going to get nowadays? It's like, and already like Solo, this mythology is already kind of set up.
Yeah.
Again, it's when you look at someone like Amber Heard as well. She's going to play the female protagonist of the movie, which looks exactly like the Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
Ariel.
And plus she just looks. She's gorgeous as a redhead. I think she was a scene stealer for me, just because she just looks so beautiful. But
yeah, I mean, there's a cool little shot as well from the trailer where, you know how kind of not gullible Arthur Curry is, but there's a shot where he's almost just looking at her and kind of, you know, fawning over her, and he's completely in love with her. He doesn't care about anyone else, what anyone else thinks. She's obviously going to be that kind of love interest of the character. And,
yeah.
But there were a lot of actors that weren't in the trailer that I didn't really see, like Willem Dafoe or Dolph Lundgren. They're apparently in the movie.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did not know that at all. That'll be fun.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe was playing this character called Nudus Volko, and then Dolph Lundgren was playing this character called King Nervius. I don't know how I probably butchered those names again, but again, when you look at other actors in it as well, like Patrick Milton as well is in it.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson.
He's kind of a James Wan kind of acolyte as well. He was in the Conjuring movies, Insidious.
Yeah.
And I like the way he's been given this kind of meaty role in Aquaman. And then another actor who's in it, who's like, probably has this cameo role, is Lee Whannell, who's like James Wan's partner in crime at the minute.
Oh, he's in it? I didn't even know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's the pilot in the end when Aquaman jumps out of the plane, and he's like, "You gotta love redheads."
Oh, that's neat.
That's Lee Whannell. I didn't even realize.
That's really fun. And then isn't Nicole Kidman is his mother too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this movie, I think it really has the potential to be really, really fun. Yeah, the visuals look great. I think they did not. All the water stuff in Justice League was probably my least favorite part. It just looked really murky and like kind of gross with that kind of that Snyder / Whedon aesthetic. It just didn't look great to me. So I'm happy that everything looks really, really good this time around. But I think with that, I think we move to quite possibly one of the more epic trailers I've seen in a really, really long time, which is Godzilla, King of Monsters, King of the Monsters. This trailer. Well, first you have 11 in there, and she's screaming and she's doing her thing. So that's just immediately a box office pull for Warner Brothers and Legendary, which is really smart. But I think what I kind of was disappointed in the 2014 Godzilla. I really like that. I like that movie quite a bit. But I think one of the things that a lot of people have noted is that it's kind of embarrassed to be like a Godzilla movie. It kind of hides the monster and things like that. And it seems like this movie, it's like, no, we do not care. Look at these amazing creatures, and they're just going to wreak havoc all over the world, and it's going to be a really cool thing. So buy your 3 tubs of popcorn, come out and see this movie next summer. Let's go.
Yeah. That, like, I know what you're saying, because although I do like the 2014 Gareth Edwards movie, who he isn't directing this new one. It's Michael Dougherty. Is that how you pronounce his name? Dougherty? I say Dougherty because I'm Irish.
Whatever, I'm sure it's fine.
Gareth Edwards, he's gone for this one. He's moving on to a different movie called Forever, which is a sci-fi movie that's out. I think it's in development. He he co-wrote it as well. But again, with this movie, like you said, they're not shying away this time. They've got 4 big monsters in this movie. 4, like massive big monsters. I don't know if you're familiar with the Godzilla kind of mythology, or how many monsters you know, but they got Mothra in this, which is a big fan-friendly monster. And then you got King Ghidorah, who's like a three-headed dragon that's even bigger than Godzilla, like significantly bigger than Godzilla. And then you got, which a lot of people didn't even know, this other monster was in the movie, Rodan, who's kind of this other dragon monster as well that kind of breathes fire. He flaps his wings, and I think he kind of regenerates from fire as well. And I heard that he's kind of a rogue monster. He's not really a villain nor a protagonist for Godzilla. But these really get me really excited.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. It sounds like Vera Farmiga with the voiceover. She's saying that they have to find these monsters to kind of save the world. But I don't...
Yeah.
It seems like she's also kind of sinister. I don't know what's going on there. And there's a whole tie with her and Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler. But this... Yeah, it just looks just so epic and grand scale that I think and it looks gorgeous too. Like one of my favorite shots is when Mothra opens, like the wings, wings flap open, and it's in like this blue kind of hue, and just there's just so many money shots of monsters in this movie where it just looks so cool, and I just hope the one thing I just hope that because the thing about all these movies is the people suck, or we don't care about them. So I hope there's kind of little notes at like, this was Millie Bobby Brown, Vera Farmiga, and Kyle Chandler were this family, and it looks like they've kind of split apart. So I'm hoping that part kind of holds its own next to all the amazing monster footage and just carnage around the world. It kind of looks like they're going for this thing where it's like, there's all these monsters around us, but the true monsters are these people, or something kind of vaguely poetic.
Sinister.
Yeah, vaguely poetic like that. So I'm just hoping. All I needed was I got Godzilla doing his atomic breath, so I'm good there. I got the yell. So this movie has me. I'm sold. I will be there in May of 2019 in my theater. Very, very excited for what this brings.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that you mentioned the kind of human villain side to it as well, because Charles Dance is in the movie, in Game of Thrones.
Great.
And he just looks like it. He just breathes villainy.
Great. He has that great line, "Long live the king," which it's perfect. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and that kind of makes me wonder, what monster is he talking about there? Is he talking about Godzilla, or is he talking about, I don't know, King Ghidorah or something? This is what excites me, because you just don't really know what they're talking about in this early stage of the movie, of the trailers. But I mean, you're almost guaranteed a King Kong end credit scene as well at the end of this movie.
Absolutely.
You might almost be banking on that, because with the last Skull Island movie, and I was kind of disappointed by Skull Island. I had a lot of fun watching it, but I'm still kind of hung up on I still have my reservations about, how I felt about the Peter Jackson movie, because I love the Peter Jackson depiction. It's a 3.5 hour movie. But I understand what they went for with Skull Island. They tried to kind of make it more of a, popcorn friendly movie. But I'm still excited for how they're going to link Godzilla with King Kong. I think in only a year after this movie. I think it's coming out in like 2020.
Yeah, something like that.
Godzilla movie.
Yeah, like 2020, 2021, something like that. But I think when you have giant monsters roaming around the world like this, I don't think people really care about continuity. You know what I mean? So like you can, Kong Skull Island is like this pulpy, kind of just like a silly action movie, which I didn't really like it, but at the same time, like Godzilla and King Kong in a movie eventually, like I don't care what's come before that. Like I want to see that on the big screen. I want to go to an IMAX theater, just see it on the biggest screen possible, and just kind of sit back and just let my brain numb over. It's just it just looks so good.
Like a movie like that is guaranteed to make at least, but guaranteed to make at least 600 million, 700 million at the box office. The budgets are like 200 million or something.
If this is anything below 200 million, then that's kind of amazing because it just looks like it's all special effects shots. They're working on this for like over a year just to kind of like make this look really great. But I think, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I put you off.
No, I was just gonna move forward. So if you have something to say, have at it.
Oh no, because I was going to talk about the Bryan Cranston thing in the last one where people were kind of sold on the fact that Bryan Cranston was in this movie because that was just off the coattails of Breaking Bad.
Right.
He was big, and then guess what? Like 25 minutes into the movie, he dies.
Yeah.
What? So going into this movie, I kind of do look at like Ken Watanabe's character as he could die within the first 10 minutes, or Sally Hawkins' character as well, which I saw a lot of funny jokes on Twitter about saying, Sally Hawkins could get frisky with Godzilla this time after her last movie. She was in love with a sea monster, but I would be kind of almost anxious to see what creative decisions they make with the characters in this one, because like you were saying earlier, Millie Bobby Brown is going to be a big pull from this movie because she essentially is the same character as 11, even the same hair color, even the same wardrobe as well, I presume.
Yeah.
But then makes me wonder what happens to Aaron Taylor-Johnson's character with Elizabeth Olsen. They just have zero impact of this. They don't seem in it at all.
Yeah,
I'm not disappointed over. But
yeah, I think from the last movie it was like, all right, people thought that they were like the least interesting part, so let's not worry about them anymore and let's move on to something different.
Exactly, like they were kind of an excuse just to kind of give a perspective, a close perspective of these monsters. And I don't even know what you think about this, but Ice Cube's son as well, O'Shea Jackson, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's a soldier.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I thought it was pretty cool because he's sort of sitting at a table and then you see him on a plane. I think he's about to jump out.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements to this movie. You have massive monsters and you have a ton of actors that we know from other things in this too. So it's going to be, someone's going to get lost in the shuffle there. So it'll be really interesting just to kind of see how it all comes together. This is
Zhang Zi as well.
Yeah,
the Chinese actress.
Yeah, this is just going to be an event movie. I'm really interested to see how this works because I know you have Avengers 4 also coming out in May of next year. So
it's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these two movies work out next to each other. I have to imagine there's a couple weeks in between there for either one of them to get their box office pull, but it'll be really interesting to see how, if kind of the businesses of one dampens the other,
Yeah.
And from probably one of the most epic trailers we've seen, we go to probably the smallest scale movie that we have on our slate of things to talk about, which is Universal and Blumhouse's Glass, which I'm super excited for. I think Split is probably one of the more rewatchable movies on HBO right now. It's just on all the time, and it's just so great. There's so many really cool nuggets in there with McAvoy switching between personalities and watching Anya Taylor-Joy just kind of really have the brunt of the situation on her shoulders. How did you feel about this trailer, Steven?
I was, to be honest, I was really, really blown away by the trailer. Because I only watched Split yesterday for the second time. I watched it when it came out, but what I did was I let my parents watch Split for the first time yesterday, and I knew that they would have to watch it to kind of get the trailer of Glass because I didn't show them the trailer, and they loved the movie, and I loved the movie a second time as well. I actually preferred it a second time because I knew what was coming. I knew what the ending was and what the implications were of David Dunn coming into the movie. But I'm really, really excited about this. It really looks like they're, and I know we talked about it before, but M. Night Shyamalan is obviously very, very hit and miss. I mean, that's a huge understatement to say something like that.
Yeah.
Even though, and I know some of his bigger budget movies kind of seem to fail, this still seems to be still a kind of personal movie for him. It doesn't seem to be like, I know it's lending itself a lot to the superhero genre, which is the most trendy thing at the minute in film, but I have a good feeling about this one. It doesn't seem to be too crazy or too kind of, Last Airbender type stuff, but I have a good feeling about this movie.
Yeah, let's hope it's not Last Airbender, because honestly, out of all the movies I've seen, that's been one of the ones that it's taken me multiple times to get through it. I've never been able to sit down and watch that all the way through, and I don't think I'm ever going to try to again. But yeah, I think this movie is still through like Blumhouse, so it's definitely going to be a lower budgeted vibe. It has more big name actors in it, so the budget's gonna inflate from there just because there's just so many names in it. But I just really think it's a really cool way to meld the tones of Split and Unbreakable, and this kind of feels like it feels like it's a hybrid of those two, where it doesn't feel quite as horror as Split does, but it's also probably a little more, I don't want to say action-y, but it's a little more kind of in your face than Unbreakable was. Unbreakable is just this really subdued movie where basically like the climax is Bruce Willis bashing a guy's head into the wall for like a second, and then that's basically it, and it's just like this really good character study. So yeah, this just looks so cool, and I think it's really cool to see McAvoy kind of expand on his David character by just showing these different personalities that we didn't see before. Like my favorite part is just still like "I almost got you, bro," like that type of thing.
Yeah.
That might have been my favorite part of the trailer. It made me laugh so hard. It's just really fun. I think some people might find it a little troubling with DID to really kind of make some light of this, but it's so good. I think the way he plays it and the way people react around to him. And I think obviously it's named Glass, so we're going to see Samuel kind of pull the strings and kind of be the puppet master of all this. But it's just I really hope that Bruce Willis it comes to play, because he's kind of sleepy. He's a little sleepy sometimes. If you don't really get to him. He has
that kind of smoldering look where he's like, his eyes are squinted and he looks like he's always the wise guy, and he's kind of the same guy in every movie, but people seem to like him. So yeah,
Looper is probably the Rian Johnson movie is one of my favorite science fiction movies, and that was just a few years ago, and he was unbelievable in that movie, and that's probably his best performance of like the past, I want to say the past decade. He's really in a lot of straight-to-video action movies now, so I really hope this is kind of like a renaissance for him and everything like that. I really like the idea they're taking with Sarah Paulson's character, and she's kind of like this psychiatrist who's studying people who think they're superheroes, which I think is really, really cool and like a really interesting way to make this world more real, as Shyamalan's trying to do to begin with. It's just go ahead.
No, you're right. Like like Sarah Paulson, she's in the trailer. She just looks so invested in what's going on. She looks like she's really giving it her all. It looks like the character could kind of sway from either bad or good. We don't know whether she's an antagonist or a protagonist or a bit of both. There's a shot in the trailer where there's a kind of wall of police pointing guns at her, telling her to get on her knees or something. It makes you wonder what type of role she plays in the movie. But that's the thing about a lot of these. That's what I like about this kind of new trilogy, because it's not. I know it's Warner Brothers, and another horror movie, Halloween, is kind of banking on this kind of Warner Brothers kind of. I'm kind of going blank now. Halloween, the new Halloween movie with Warner Brothers. It's kind of like that, except like you said earlier, it's not really a horror movie. Split was never really a horror movie. It's more of a thriller movie. This is more of a kind of amalgamation of both, and I think the fact that M. Night Shyamalan he's kind of given a lot to kind of live up to, because this movie will be sort of in conjunction with Marvel and superhero movies, but the difference is I think he has a lot more freedom to do what he wants, and that's a good thing, because we saw the way, I know Star Wars isn't a superhero movie, but we know of the whole debacle with that, and I think just keeping things simple with M. Night Shyamalan, given what he wants to do, it's probably the best thing to do in this case, because he did create Unbreakable, he did create Split, and he seems to know what he's doing here. And even when you have other actresses coming back like Anya Taylor-Joy, the main protagonist in Split, she's coming back from this for this sequel. And I mean, she doesn't seem to be a huge character in the movie, but definitely she seems to be a kind of pivotal character for James McAvoy's character, because there's like a scene in the trailer where she's talking to the kid version of him. His name is Hedwig. She kind of identified with him a lot, and that can kind of probably be a funny dynamic as well.
Yeah.
And I was going to say it to you earlier, but I think that James McAvoy, it's not a way there's like 24 different personalities, and we didn't actually get to see all of them in Split. I think we might be able to get to see more of them in this movie, because like that, I got you, bro, that kind of guy. I don't remember that guy in Split. I could be wrong there.
Yeah, neither do I. There's definitely some new things he's doing. I mean, he still has the Patricia, the elderly woman in him, and things like that, and obviously Beast. But yeah, I just really love how he just goes full on with this character, and he's not afraid to be like ridiculed or kind of made fun of, because that's an easy one where if you have someone kind of he's kind of doing a balancing act where if he falls one way it's not really that interesting, and if he falls the other way it's just a full-on like farce. So it's just kind of really cool to see him walk that line at all time, And
I know we spoke about this, but I think he even has like a Spanish character as well that he's going to play, like or Portuguese or something, because I think there's a part of the trailer where he starts speaking another language, and I think he kind of said like, "No, senor," and he put his hand up or something like that. And maybe there's more to that, but that's actually a really good kind of empty area where they could fill in more of these crazy characters and just give James McAvoy as much freedom as he wants with these characters, all these different personalities in his head.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the good thing about this movie, is that it's original and there's a lot of freedom to it.
Yeah, totally. So I think from there we go to our final trailer, which is the Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I think out of all of these trailers that we've talked about, I think this is the one I'm kind of least excited for. Like it still looks like a pretty fun time, and I mean I'm a movie critic, so I'll be there to see it. But it didn't quite grab me as much as the other ones. I think that's fair to say, but it looks like a really fun time. I love Jude Law, and he looks like he's really just chewing the scenery as a young Dumbledore. And I really liked Eddie Redmayne's character from the last one, Newt Scamander. He's kind of just, I don't know how quite to describe him. He's just kind of like a goofy dude he's definitely not perfect, and it's kind of fun to see in these type of movies where the protagonist isn't just some perfect white guy, who just does everything right, and he's just really, really cool. So it's just kind of fun to see him be back, and Johnny Depp's doing his thing. I hope the David Yates kind of reins him in and shows, and so he can kind of, cause that's kind of where he's at his best, when you kind of keep him on a leash, so to say, kind of like keep him from going all the way out there, which sometimes like his recent Tim Burton collaborations have really had that issue. So this movie looks fine. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how like me and you tend to agree a lot. I noticed. It's like we're the same person.
We're best buddies, basically.
Yeah, we're best friends forever at this stage. I have exactly the same thoughts on it. Like I'm not a huge fan of Harry Potter. Not to say that I don't like it. I've seen all the movies. I've seen the last Fantastic Beasts movie. I haven't read the books, but I like Harry Potter. and I actually do like seeing the movies. My girlfriend is a fanatic about Harry Potter. She will watch anything about Harry Potter. Huge fan of J.K. Rowling. Excuse me. And we went to see Fantastic Beasts, and I've seen all the movies, and I really enjoyed Fantastic Beasts. I thought it was a good movie, and there is an audience for this type of stuff. Like, the thing about the Harry Potter universe is that it doesn't seem to have any competition, or it's its own beast in a way. I mean, the last movie made $800 million with a budget of I think it was only, the budget was $100 million, or no, sorry, it was $200 million the budget, but still, it can be a massive success, and with the added fact that they have other stars in it like Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and even David Yates is coming back to direct this. He directed the first one. He directed Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, Order of the Phoenix. So he knows what he's doing. He's competent in this area. He knows this world. And the thing about J.K. Rowling is that she's also penning the script. She wrote the script. I know it's a completely different medium here, but obviously she is the queen of this thing, of this whole narrative. She knows what's best for the narrative, I suppose. It's her baby. And I can't wait to see the movie.
Yeah, it's
it's really that simple.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I really got like fun X-Men vibes from the trailer, where it's kind of these two factions who think that wizards are better than muggles, so the muggles don't deserve to be around anymore, where other ones like, no, we can live with them, they're good in their own way, and I think it's kind of fun. It's always, I think, the battle of ideals and things like that are always make for really interesting movies if you do it right. So, I mean, that's to say, if you do anything right, it'll be good. But it's just it looks like they're really kind of focusing on the characters, which, even though the trailer didn't exactly blow me away, I can get really interested in any character study that I see. That's kind of why we go to the movies to begin with, is to see these really interesting people in really cool worlds. So, yeah,
that's the thing about the characters in the movie as well, is that they're bringing characters back that people seem to like as well, like Catherine Waterston's character, Tina Goldstein, and the person that I thought was my favorite performance in the last movie was Dan Fogler.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was the funniest character in the whole movie. I know he was a butt to a lot of jokes, and he sort of became a meme, but I thought he was great in the last one. He really had me. He was really a side splitter. I mean, I know in the last movie they kind of spun it a certain way, where they were kind of saying farewell to his character, because if I remember correctly, he lost his memory.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad they're bringing back this character, because they know what the audience likes, and believe it or not, this is a 5-movie setup, so 5 movies are planned all together. So they know that they have to know what they're doing. They have to slowly pump them out. And for the record, I kind of feel sorry for Colin Farrell now, because he's probably looking at the trailer going, that Johnny Depp character could have been me. I could have been Grindelwald.
Yeah, I think him and Fogler were my two favorite characters in that first movie. So the reveal was kind of fun in the last movie, where Colin Farrell turned into Johnny Depp, but it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, man, I really wish he would have stuck around, because he was just really, really interesting, and I think Colin Farrell's killing it recently, which is just it was just kind of right in the middle of his Renaissance little period he had there, but he's having a kind of indie period now where he's getting really good. Yeah, and I guess hopefully that frees him up to do other weird things. He could do more team ups with Yorgos Lanthimos, like Killing of the Sacred Deer, which is just one of the most unsettling movies I've seen in a really long time. But I have high hopes for this movie. It's another one. It's a really crowded fall and winter season. You have this and so many others that we already mentioned before. But I hope this movie does well. It looks fun. Warner Brothers is really smart to do that little Wizarding World logo before this trailer, so everyone's immediately like, oh, okay, we got it. We're Harry Potter, we got this. I think it's a really smart branding idea for them to continue forward with this. But yeah, this movie. Hopefully it could be. Sorry to put you off. But
hopefully this is the one where it kind of looks like they're going in a more original kind of way with this, because Jude Law's character, Albus Dumbledore, is sort of obviously their kind of nemesis. They're enemies between one another. Depp's character, Grindelwald, and Jude Law's character, Dumbledore. But then Dumbledore is the one who's the kind of crux to the story, is that Dumbledore is sort of recruiting or hiring Newt Scamander's Eddie Redmayne's character, Newt Scamander, to essentially track down this guy and just see what he's all about. So I'm not saying there's going to be like almost espionage kind of vibes to the movie, but I think there should be a kind of different dynamic to this whole kind of story. So I'm just looking forward to how different it could be to the previous one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I've said before how I'm just not a huge fan of prequels, but this is kind of different because there's no really any characters you have Dumbledore, but there's not a whole bunch of ties to the original Harry Potter movies, and outside of they're in the same universe together. So it's just kind of and there's no books, so no one really knows where this is going, or except for J.K., which I think that's kind of fun. These are fun little movies. I enjoy them. But yeah, I think with that, that kind of wraps up our San Diego Comic-Con wrap up here. So, Steven, I really appreciate you coming on again. I'm really, really excited for these movies. We've been burned by trailers before. Each of the Transformers movies have really good trailers, so we'll see. But really appreciate you coming on again, Steven. Until next time, you're the man.
You're the man, Nick. Thanks very much for inviting me back.
All right, you got it, man. We will do it very, very shortly once again. And to everyone listening out there, really appreciate you guys doing that once again for us. And until next time, we'll see you.